Welcome back to Road to Fire. We're a family of four documenting our journey to FIRE, financial independence, retire early. Let's chat about our updated Coast FIRE number. I will share details on our current Coast FIRE goal, how we're tracking towards hitting it, and why we aren't pursuing Coast FIRE with all real numbers like always, so please hang with me. Now, we had to update our Coast FIRE number. Our original FIRE number was $2.5 million. We set that back in 2021 and thought that was our plan through 2030. Well, things have changed as expected, mainly because our family expanded. So we had to update our FIRE number, which inevitably impacted our Coast FIRE number. But to be 100% clear, I don't plan on pursuing Coast FIRE. We still are pursuing traditional FIRE or Fat FIRE, determining on what you consider Fat FIRE to be. But it is good to know that our future older selves are set. I get a sense of peace knowing that when I'm old and gray, I won't have to worry about money. Now, I like that there are different types of FIRE paths based on what matters the most to you. We developed a plan that fit our short and long-term goals while maintaining the best lifestyle for our family now. Now, we originally started out with pursuing traditional FIRE, and then we realized that Fat FIRE was the best for us. Now, I know as we get much older, our spending habits will change and we'll probably end up being back to traditional and if not lean FIRE. Now, I don't mind shifting or changing our goals as we go along. I just want to make sure that I have a clear North Star to target. We set our new FIRE goal to $3.1 million, and the clarity has made our financial progress much easier. But don't get stuck on the type of FIRE you're pursuing. It's all about the process or the progress over time that matters. I've learned that later in our journey, but it helped me take the feet off the brakes a bit and find a better balance on our road to FIRE. Okay, but first, what is Coast FIRE? According to Wallet Burst, Coast FIRE is when you have enough in your retirement accounts that without any additional contributions, your net worth will grow to support retirement at a traditional retirement age. Essentially, you invest and save until you hit your Coast FIRE number, and then you let compound interest carry or coast, hence the name, you to your FIRE number decades later or during the traditional retirement age. Now, this is for someone who is on the slow path to financial independence or desires to focus on enjoying the now versus the later. For Coast FIRE, you will still need a job to cover your expenses today, as you won't reach financial independence until your mid to late 60s. It's the balance between retiring now versus later. Coast FIRE is a security blanket or insurance for our life in the future. I know the future will be set once we hit this number. So there are several different types or forms of FIRE, but here are the 5 common types of FIRE that I'll buzz through. Each type has a different purpose. Now there is lean FIRE, which is typically for minimalists who can live off a lot less money than others and who plan to do so in the future. These are highly frugal people who manage their expenses effectively over time. Okay, then there is traditional FIRE, and it's when you save and invest enough money to fully cover your current living expenses for the rest of your life. Basically, with this strategy, work is optional while eliminating any stress to earn new money. You are also looking to achieve a portfolio approximately 25 times your expenses to withdraw a retirement income similar to your current expenses. Then we got Fat FIRE, which we are pursuing for those who want to live lavishly or more comfortably lifestyle in retirement. Those pursuing Fat FIRE expect a high annual expenditure, usually upwards of $100,000 per year. Then there are those pursuing Barista FIRE. They focus on saving now so they can work part-time or more relaxed jobs later in life. They may want to replace their traditional 9-to-5 job for a few hours here or there. And then there are those pursuing Coast FIRE. But tell me in the comments, what type of FIRE are you pursuing? Okay, so how do you calculate Coast FIRE? The first step is to know your FIRE number. And to find or know your FIRE number, you have to know your expected expenses in retirement. And the best way to get that number is to begin tracking your monthly spending in a budget. Number 2 is determine your safe withdrawal rate. The classic choice is 4% based on historical data of the market over the last decades, but there are some who prefer 3.5% or use a rolling scale based on market performance. For our 2 scenarios, we chose 3.5 and 4%. So number 3 is to know your expected growth rate. Now, I know you cannot predict the future performance of the market, but you can use historical data as a reference, adjusted for inflation, of course. And the last step is easy. Simply place your inputs into a Coast FIRE calculator and you get your Coast FIRE number. I use the calculator on Wallet Burst, but you can use any online as many use the same logic. But everything comes back to knowing your numbers. Spending a short few months to track your income and expenses will set you up on a strong financial journey. Yes, it can be annoying in the beginning. Tracking what you're eating, where you're shopping, what you're buying, and how much you spend on groceries isn't fun. But most people are creatures of habit, so once you get the numbers for the first few months and your income stays consistent, you can begin to get averages on key expenses that give you a baseline to better understand your overall numbers. Now, I wish everyone learned about Coast Fire in school. According to an article posted in Forbes this past February, more than half of Americans, 55%, are concerned that they cannot achieve financial security in retirement. But what if we all had a retirement target to hit? Like we start our first job and the HR rep says, plug in your numbers and boom, here's what you need to save to hit retirement at the age 67 or whatever their current retirement age is. It would have been nice to know my Coast Fire number so I had an investing target for retirement. It's much more tangible to save $350,000 than to save $2.7 million to retire. I think that no matter what type of fire you are pursuing, knowing your Coast Fire number is beneficial. Just a number to know in the back of your head to continue to look out for your future self. Now, I was listening to a financial podcast, and it talked about the importance of envisioning or looking out for your future self. What changes or adjustments can you make now to take care of your future self? It's so easy to look at the past and think about the things you would have changed, but it's harder to think about the future or imagine things to do now for that in the future. Coast Fire keeps my time frames and perspectives clear. So here's our Coast Fire number. This is with the following inputs. As a reminder, we're looking to have $2.7 million invested in the market to hit FIRE by 2030. That includes $300,000 invested in our children's education. Because we are looking at Coast Fire for when we are 67, we will not need that additional $300,000, so we adjusted our numbers here. But I do hope my kids will have finished college by then. So our numbers reflect having $2.4 million invested with us retiring at 67, using a 4% safe withdrawal rate. I put the rate of return or growth rate at 6% adjusted for inflation, and that has our annual spending about $96,000, which is categorized at a quote-unquote fat fire. With these inputs, our Coast Fire number would be just over $350,000. As of today, we have hit our updated Coast Fire number with about $700,000 invested in the market today, so we are set for our future selves. Now, I'm so happy to say that our future selves will be set for retirement, or at least we'll have cash cushion available for that time. But will $2.4 million be enough in almost 30 years? I have no clue. But I do know our expenses today are inflated and our inputs are relatively conservative, so I'm not concerned overall. But here is scenario 2, just because I'm a bit more conservative when it comes to FIRE. All of the inputs are the same as in scenario 1, but I decrease our safe withdrawal rate to 3.5%, which is probably closer to what we will more than likely be doing, as I expect us to have other streams of income to supplement our expenses. Even with this adjustment, keeping everything else whole, our new updated Coast Fire would be just under $401,000. Despite shifting the safe withdrawal rate, we are still well above our Coast Fire number and on track for traditional or fat fire. But I'm happy I reran the numbers with our updated fire number and reflected our expenses or expected expenses for the future accurately. I don't plan on slowing down just because we hit Coast Fire, but it did let me know that we are prepared for retirement. Overall, I do feel a teeny-weeny sense of peace seeing these numbers, but I'll feel much better once we hit financial independence. So why would someone want to pursue Coast Fire? Now, I personally don't know anyone who is set on taking this path to wealth, but I can see the draw or appeal. Number 1 is clear. You can fully enjoy the now. Imagine for a second what you'll do if you didn't have to funnel all your additional or after-tax expense dollars into savings or investing. Where would that money go? I, for one, would be traveling nonstop with friends or family. Today, we send about $6,500-ish after-tax dollars to savings and investing to hit our FIRE goal, but if we were only pursuing Coast Fire, we'd be able to use that money for many other things today. Now, number 2, pursuing Coast Fire means you are set for the later. Your older self will be thanking you as you have stored, invested enough to be comfortable in traditional retirement. Now, this is imperative today as we are witnessing an aging population who isn't ready for retirement. Regardless if you're not pursuing FIRE, it's good to know that your future older self is set for these later years. But reaching FIRE in 2023 is still our goal. We are more so focused on the FI versus the RE in FIRE, and personally, I feel grinding and saving for about 10 years to be set for life financially is worth it. I mean, we'll be in our early 40s when we reach or plan to reach FIRE, and to me, that is the start of the best years. Because in my 20s, I was still trying to figure out things and I was making many silly choices. I was jumping from job to job trying to find the right work-life balance. And to be honest, I didn't really find myself in a sense until I hit my 30s. I finally felt comfortable being me in all areas. My finances were finally making sense, my relationships were flourishing, my spiritual life was front and center, and I finally had a solid fitness health routine that is now a part of who I am. Now I know 40s might not be early fire, but it's perfect timing for me. I'm not sure what I would have done if I reached fire at 30. What would my daily life or purpose be? I really didn't figure out my purpose around giving until about a year ago, so who knows? And I don't know where I'll be in 5 years or 10 years. I hope to be ever evolving and becoming a better version of myself. Regardless, I feel our timing is perfect. It aligns and fits our plans on all levels. Coast Fire makes sense for many, but our current plan works perfectly for us. Now, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. Until next time.